Pike, that's the east to west, that takes you from Philly to Pittsburgh. Those pinks right there indicate hail. We've had reports with this storm with inch-size hail. And what we're here for, and why we're stepping in, and I'm sorry to interrupt Sherry this morning, but we need to get that information out about this tornado warning. So this tornado warning right here that we're talking about, this is in effect for parts of Chester County and Berks County until 11:45 this morning. And so what we were just talking about is where this is tracking. These storms are going just like this. So Honeybrook, while you're in the tornado warning, the danger has passed for you at this point. The tornado warning would be more so in this section of 322, so headed more toward Exton. Eventually, you know, it's about a half hour to get from Honeybrook to Exton. So past Honeybrook, there's not a whole lot of towns here, just more homes than anything along 322. This right here is where we have the concern there. That storm is tracking more north, so coming into Elverson, that's the edge of Chester County in the next 5 minutes or so, heading into Morgantown and south of Reading and Berks County. This is Berks County right here, a little bit after that. That is what we're tracking right now. Let's take a look at that on Doppler radar to get you up to date with exactly what's going on. So this is where the storm is. This is our concern right now for that possible tornado. We have to say possible tornado because we don't have reports of it on the ground. Scott Williams is with us in the Fox 29 Weather Center. Scott Williams, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, well, right now I am seeing a little bit of rotation, Drew, with this particular cell as it continues to move on off to the north and east. And once again, we continue to follow some heavy rainfall. So if it is a tornado, it will likely be rain wrapped in nature. And you can see a lot of vivid lightning with the system as well as we continue to go in time. So places that are getting wet, places like we're looking at 322 Honeybrook area, looking at a lot of lightning moving back toward the Elverson area, Wallace, West Brandywine. So all of these areas really getting the brunt of this system that is potentially capable of producing a tornado. Even if we don't have a tornado, treat it as a tornado because we're talking about winds that are gusting in excess of 60 miles per hour. So a lot of blinding rainfall. We need the rainfall, but not at the cost of a potential tornado. Now, of course, we continue to look at some of the very heavy rainfall that's moving in out of Lancaster County into portions of Chester County. And you can see that we're talking about this going all the way down to the border of Maryland. This will continue moving on off to the east, but we've got a lot of isolated storms out ahead of this system as well. There was a bit of an outflow boundary this morning that formed from some storms that were decaying through sections of Delaware. So that's kind of prompted some of the activity out ahead of this system that we're watching through sections of Chester County right now, Drew. But nonetheless, we continue to follow this potential tornado. Once again, tornado warning in effect for sections of Chester County and also a sliver of Berks until 11:45.
I was going to say, you bring up a great point. So even though you may not be in that tornado warning, we still have some ferocious storms across our region, as you mentioned, with a lot of heavy rain, lightning, even some small hail. So this is the reason why we need to step in, because anytime we have a tornado warning, we need to get you up to date to help you plan for that. So this right here is the storm that we're concerned about. See all this lightning? Lightning is a good indicator for how strong a storm is. When there's lots of lightning, that means it's not weakening anytime soon, which means we're going to have this tornado warning through 11:45. Sometimes the National Weather Service will cancel tornado warnings early if the storms weaken. That's not the case here. So here's the deal. Honeybrook right now. So the danger has passed for you. We're concerned right there in this region. So Euclid, you don't have to be worried about the tornado itself because that's not going to come and bother you at all. It's not coming into your region. We're worried about it coming north of Honeybrook. So we're talking the Elverson area and also into Morgantown, into Berks County. This region right here is our focus area because of the tornado warning. But southern Chester County, you have some ferocious storms as well. So coming into parts of Exton and Downingtown and also Westchester in the next few minutes or so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, pop up the wind mode of Doppler radar that helps us analyze the strength of a potential tornado. And I'm just looking around for some clues to look at the strength. And as long as I don't see a certain signature, which I don't see, that tells me if there is a tornado, it would be likely an EF1, which means wind speeds about 90 or 100 miles an hour on average when we get them. So that kind of wind speeds, what it does is debris in that can break windows, which is part of the reason what you want to to do is you want to get to the center of your home if you're in those communities that we talked about. So what you want to do is you want to get away from windows since debris can break the windows. Or if you have a basement, that's great. You want to go down there because let's say you do have a big tree. 100-mile-per-hour winds, believe it or not, can uproot big trees that can certainly fall on roofs and things like that. So that's why we say go to the center of the house or go to the basement if you're in some of those communities where you mentioned. What we're going to do now is we're going to track the storm. We're going to track so you can help plan for exactly what's going on. So here is the live picture of ultimate Doppler radar. We're focused right now on Chester County, that area that's just kind of all lit up at this very moment because of a tornado warning. And that's why we're with you, and we're going to stay with you through the duration of the tornado warning because we want to get this alert out for the folks in western Chester County and into southern Berks County, south of Reading. So all this lightning where you see there, that's the area of concern right now, and that's what we're looking at. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to loop this because I want to get a feel for how these storms are moving, and you can get a feel that we have two different components going on right now. We have a north sort of movement. We also have a western sort of movement. This one right here is the concern for the tornado warning, right there. So it's moving more north into northern Chester County. This is a different storm. This storm right here, I don't know if you can tell, you see how it's kind of bowing out? You know, see how it kind of looks like a bow and arrow? Like if I were to get a bow and arrow and go like that, that's an indicator that this storm, which is separate from the tornado warning, has really strong wind gust. Wind gusts capable of causing wind damage. So really strong here, but we need to focus on this area that has a tornado warning. This red box that you're seeing at the very moment, and what I'll do is I'll just stop this and I'll loop this for just kind of a second to give you a feel for exactly where that is. That when the National Weather Service draws these tornado warning boxes, they're giving you the path of the storm. They get wider as time goes on because what happens with that is there's less certainty in the track of the storm. So that's why this box gets wider. But this box is to alert folks. So by, say, the Coventry Mall, that's a concern for you for the tornado warning. So this is south of Pottstown. This is in this portion of Chester County, this portion of Berks County, just over the line. Let's really zoom in. We have the power to go street level. I want to see the different communities that are involved in this. First, look at this. We are seeing the storms right there from our live Westchester Sky Cam. You get a feel for the dark clouds. When you see clouds super dark, that means there is tons of rain. And let's look out in the distance. You see that right there? That right there is giving you a feel for the potential of these storms. They're strong, lots of heavy rain. And this is what we're able to see from our Chester County Sky Cam to get you a feel. These communities right here, these are folks that right now you're involved in the potential for a tornado. So there's Elverson. We're looking at 23, the section that comes into Chester County. And then kind of looking at some of these communities. This is a pretty rural area. I'm familiar with this area. I've grown up in Chester County and been in Berks County and all around this region plenty. So these storms are moving northward. What we'll do is we'll do a storm track. And hey, Scott, I haven't had a chance to check. Are you able to check how fast the storm's moving so we can draw that storm track on there?
Yeah, absolutely, Drew. It's moving generally to the north and east at about 35 miles per hour.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll draw that because one of the things that we have the potential to do is we have this technology that we do these slices like this and drag them out. And when we do that, it asks us how, what's the speed? And hit me with that one more time. You said 30 or 35? 35. Okay, so I'm going to need to redraw this because I didn't have 35 in there. So I'm just going to clear that real quick. And now I set it up with 35. And what's nice is the computer calculates for us, okay, based on 35-mile-per-hour movement, as we track this storm straight up, where is it going to be when? So I want to give these communities, this is your concern for the storm. So, I drew this a little bit wide, so that's why some spots in Montgomery County are showing up. Here's what that means. Why these spots right here are not included in the tornado warning, this storm's going to keep tracking north. So the National Weather Service is going to keep an eye on these communities, but this is your heads up. Right now, a storm with a tornado warning on it is tracking toward these communities at these times right here. So we'll see if the National Weather Service extends that tornado warning to include parts of Montgomery County and further north into Berks County. So that's your heads up on some of those communities right there, including Limerick and Montgomery County at 11:45. Scott, give me an update with some of the things that you're seeing back in the Fox 29 Weather Center.
Yeah, Drew, I'm seeing a lot of lightning with this activity, as well as some impressive rainfall rates. We've been dealing with a deficit with the rain across the entire state. Yesterday, they did declare a drought situation across pretty much the entire Keystone State. We're looking at some rainfall rates of about 1.5 inches per hour. So if this is in fact a tornado, it is definitely rain wrapped, hard to see. So treat it as though it is a tornado. I mean, take a live look here. Berks County, Redding, you can see socked in with the heavy rainfall out of these thunderstorms that are moving through the area. And we talked about how this would produce a lot of heavy rainfall. So an HP supercell, that's basically what we're talking about. High precipitation with this activity, with those rainfall rates, 1.5 inches per hour. Also a lot of vivid lightning. So if you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. Someone in New Jersey the other day was struck by lightning. So when thunder roars, definitely head indoors. This activity is lifting on off to the north and east at about 35 miles per hour. And once again, we continue to show a little bit of rotation with this activity through sections of Chester County, Drew, and a lot of lightning there for some of those places in the northern part of Chester County.
And that gives you that indication that this storm is not backing down. It's staying strong. And you bring up a great point about lightning. When you hear it, that means it's within 10 miles of you. So that's close. So that is a great point. That's why you have to stay inside. So we just got an update from the National Weather Service. We're actually in constant communication with the National Weather Service. I want to read what they just shared about this storm that just came out literally moments ago. Not only are they concerned for the possibility of a tornado, they're particularly concerned about straight line winds. Straight line winds are as powerful as a tornado, but they're not technically a tornado because the winds go like that. They go in straight lines. But here's why straight line winds are super dangerous. They cover a much wider area than a tornado. So we're on air right now because there is a tornado warning for right here, this section of northern Chester County. So we're talking this portion of the turnpike heading toward Pottstown, which is just across the county line in Montgomery County. Also this portion south of Redding in Berks County. This is why we have a concern right now. It's the tornado warning right here through 11:45. But the National Weather Service wanted us to get the word out that these storms have the potential of this widespread straight line wind damage potential. Straight line winds is over a much wider area than a tornado. A tornado is often pretty narrow, say like 1/4 mile wide at the most around these areas. Well, straight line winds can be miles long. I've seen straight line wind damage actually in this region into Lancaster County that rivals tornado damage. This is a nasty storm right now passing through all of the western portions of Chester County. Good portion of it's tracking north where we're looking right here. Scott and I keep looking at that because what you just saw, those Christmas colors, helps us indicate how strong the storm is. We're taking it into Berks County. So south of right there, we're looking at Mount Penn. South of Redding is where we have the tornado warning. And, Scott, you bring up a great point. This is not a time to play tornado chaser. Around this region, a lot of times the tornadoes are hidden in rain. In other words, you would not, if you were standing in your garage, you would not even know a tornado is coming because look at that. You're not going to see anything in there. So this is a time, if you're in those regions that we talked about, this red box right here, particularly the northern end of the red box into Coventry, heading toward Pottstown, south of Redding, say Elverston. This is when you want to get to the center parts of your house or get to a basement. You need to get away from windows, and there's potential for trees to get uprooted to fall on your home. So I'm taking you live to Westchester, my hometown right now. This is a nasty looking storm. The darker the clouds, the more heavy rain it has. We have a lot of heavy rain, not only with this storm that we're on the air for to prepare for this tornado warning in parts of Chester County, but all around our region right now. These are nasty storms with lots of lightning, wind gusts capable of damage, and heavy rain. Wow, this is an interesting structure. This is actually inflow right here. This is letting us know that this storm is super strong and capable of wind damage. When you see that sort of formation right there, that little self-cloud, that's telling us about the strong winds that are feeding the storm. These storms get winds, it's kind of like they're gas that just rise. It makes the storms big, and then they drop out as strong wind gusts as either the straight line winds or tornadoes. But this is giving you a feel. This is not something we typically see around this area. So this is certainly a serious storm, and that's part of the reason why it has a tornado warning. Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, ominous conditions, and it basically is telling us that we're dealing with some rotation with the system, a lot of very heavy rainfall. So back to the tornado safety again, what to do. go to the basement. You want to get into an interior windowless closet or bathroom. And the main thing you want to do is get away from all windows and protect your head. I mean, if you have a helmet, put that on, because you know that the glass can become projectiles. Anything can be strewn in the atmosphere. So we are looking once again at that tornado warning continuing for a sliver of Chester County. But take a look back at Ultimate Doppler here, and you can just really see that all of Chester County right now is getting torrential rain. Some of those rainfall rates, I queried it earlier, and it was like 1.5 inches per hour. I mean, look at this right here, live right there. That's up to 2.5 inches per hour. So this is blinding rainfall within this. This says 3 inches per hour in southern sections of Chester County.
Scott, this is like a supercell formation look. Look at this. This is stuff you see out in the plains. This is a serious, strong storm right now. This is our Westchester sky cam. And I just got the alert that the National Weather Service is particularly concerned about wind damage coming into Chester County from this storm. No surprise. When you see, this is called a shelf cloud, when you see that formation, that means this storm has nasty wind gusts capable of damage, and that's what's coming into Chester County over the next 5 to 15 minutes. So if you're in West Goshen, East Goshen, Westchester itself, around the region, into Downingtown, we're concerned about this. See how this is a line right there, and it kind of looks like it's bowing out. Imagine if I had like a bow and arrow. That means there's strong wind gusts capable of damage. All portions right there. Scott is drawing it so we can track that storm. This is what's sliding in to portions of now eastern Chester County. It's coming through the center of the county where Westchester is. So these are the communities that we have the concern for as this storm capable of wind damage with straight line winds. In other words, it blows everything in a straight line as the wind gusts just drop, coming into these communities. So Christiana in Delaware at 11:35, Wilmington would be closer to about 11:45. And Scott brought up a great point about this just dumping the rain. This is causing torrential rain. It's not sitting for a whole hour. It's about half an hour. So we saw those rainfall rates at 2 to 3 inches. It's about half of that. We're grabbing easy a quick inch, causing some flash flooding in this region of Chester County. We're here right now because there is a tornado warning in effect for northern Chester County. We have two different elements going on. This area right here we're just looking at is a big concern for straight line winds. They cause wind speed damage that rivals tornado damage. So that's first and foremost. That's coming into Westchester, East Goshen, West Goshen. We also have this tornado warning, which is what brought us on the air. This storm is tracking more north. At this point, it would be up around where 23 is. So 23 goes into Lancaster County. So Elverson, there's no concern for you at this point. The National Weather Service has updated things, and it looks like they're just keeping that tornado warning now at this portion in Chester County as the storm has wiggled its way a little more over. Okay, so this is where the tornado would be. St. Peter's is a great area for hiking. There's a lot of woods. I go there all the time. So this area right here, the tornado has gone past St. Peter's. It's following 23 that cuts east to west. If there's a tornado, it's right there. So when you see some hail, that tells you the strongest part of the storm. It's right there by South Coventry, the Coventry Mall. If you've gone up 100 to Pottstown, you pass the Coventry Mall, and now it gets pretty rural and pretty woodsy. This is where the tornado is at this very moment if it's on the ground. It would likely have wind speeds at 100 miles per hour, which, as Scott was mentioning, causes flying debris, which breaks windows. It can also uproot trees, particularly when you have really copious amounts of heavy rain like we have right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service extends that. This is a great tool that Scott just brought up for us. It helps us analyze, are we seeing any debris in the air? It's all these different colors. I'm not really seeing anything just looking at that on the fly. Let me look at that full screen. Well, I mean, yeah, there's nothing that really that's kind of getting my attention. So here's what we look for. If the colors are all the same, that means the radar is hitting the same size object in the sky. When we start seeing like multicolor, ignore this right there. That's irrelevant to us right now. When we see like multicolors, that would indicate there's some debris in the air. We're not seeing that. So what does that mean? There can still be a tornado. It's just wind speeds of about 100 miles per hour or less, so the lower end, but still something you need to take seriously and be concerned about. We're keeping an eye out for a rotation. We have some historical rotation data. None of that's showing up. And again, that just indicates it's on the weaker side. Okay, we just got a new tornado warning just issued right now because of that strong storm we were worried about for strong wind gusts right now in Westchester, West Goshen, East Goshen. That is now had enough spin to become tornadic. We were looking at the Westchester sky cam. We pointed out how that storm looks like something you see out in the plains. Okay, we're seeing lots of lightning right now. This is the concern for a brand new tornado warning that's just been issued in Chester County. This storm has the potential to bring a tornado. I got to tell you, this is a nasty storm. We don't see stuff like this around here. If you're in the path of that tornado warning, particularly right now in Westchester, West Goshen, East Goshen, let's take this seriously. Get to the center of your room. Get to a basement if you got one. Get away from the windows is the main thing. And get off the second story if you're a two-story house, just in case any trees were to fall on your homes. We're going to zoom in right now. So Westchester's right around here. We have the concern for right now Chester County, but I want to point this out. This storm's going to continue to move into Delaware County. So that's going to be moving along Route 3 into Delaware County. So like Edgemont, also portions of Newtown Square, into Marple, Broomall. I grew up here. My family, my grandparents are from the Marple, Broomall area. I know this area very well. So Route 3 right now, all the way from Westchester, that leaves Westchester, that heads toward Broomall. That is a concern for a tornado warning. Scott, can you pull up when this tornado warning expires? Let's get the latest information.
Yeah, it goes in, this one goes until 12 noon. So right now we're talking about potential for tornadoes as well as straight line wind damage.
Yes.
Right over places like Westchester, moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So this also has heavy rainfall, vivid lightning, as well as quarter-sized hail. Some of the locations in the path of this potential tornado, places like Broomall, Paoli. We're talking about Newtown Square, Bryn Mawr, Radnor, King of Prussia, West Goshen, Malvern, Devon, Ardmore. So this is a highly populated area underneath this tornado warning until noon for sections now of Chester County, Delaware County, and now Montgomery County indicated in this particular box. But you can see that rain, it is coming down through sections of Chester County. In Westchester in particular, we're talking about rainfall rates 2 to 2.5 inches per hour. So if we do have a tornado with this, it is definitely going to be rain wrapped. So once again, tornado safety, you do want to be in a basement if you have a basement. If you don't have a basement, interior, windowless closet or bathroom. Once again, this activity is bubbling up as expected around the lunch hour. A lot of lightning, gusty winds, and the potential now for a tornado in sections of Chester County, Delaware County, as well as Montgomery County. So once again, we're still watching all of this heavy rainfall. Places like 422, we're looking at 76, moving toward the blue route. We're looking at this activity as this continues to move on off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll put a tracker on this and we'll change the wind miles per hour to about 40,
Scott.
and you can see some of the places in the path of this moving on off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So places like Upper Providence, Norristown, Upper Darby, Lower Marion in the path of this potential tornado. The newly issued warning now until noon for Chester County, Delaware County, and sections of Montgomery County.
So to that point, we just saw on that live Westchester Skycam just sheets of rain coming down to tell you not only all of this heavy rain, yeah, look at this. It's almost hard to see anything from the Skycam, but the wind has picked up so much at this point. We can update that. There is no longer a tornado warning in Berks County. Our focus right now is Chester County and also Delaware County. So here's what's happening right now. So Scott, you mentioned some of the communities affected. Right now, if there's a possible tornado, it's past Exton, it's past Downingtown, it's past Euclid. It'd be right here, coming into Westchester, West Goshen, East Goshen. That would be following Route 3 into Delaware County. Also, as you mentioned, the main line, Route 30. So that takes you through Bryn Mawr and Paoli. It goes Malvern. So Malvern, you're going to be the next community to get this in about 5 minutes. The possible tornado, it's coming into Malvern. Then in about 10 minutes, it would be in Paoli. It's going to keep following the main line as well, the storm. This storm, besides having the potential for a tornado, this whole area right here has the capability of producing straight line wind damage. Straight line wind damage rivals tornado damage. So we're having a particularly dangerous situation unfold for this section of Chester County, moving into eastern Chester County, and then closer to the noon hour into Delaware County. So about 11:50 is when it's going to start coming into some of the communities in Delaware County that you mentioned, like Marion, Upper Darby. Also, we're going to add Broomall and Newtown Square in the mix. Let's take you live to Montgomery County. It's another look from the storm. These storms are huge when you have these nasty storms capable of producing tornadoes. You can see them pretty far away. We're also looking at the storm from our live Skycam in King of Prussia. It's about 20 minutes down the road from Westchester, and you can't see far in the distance. Why? Because it is just dumping rain right now. We're here because we have a tornado warning in effect. This portion right here, primarily in parts of Chester County and Delaware County, through noon. It has just a small sliver in Montgomery County, but the main concern right now is moving out of Westchester, moving into Malvern. It's pretty much at this point following Route 30, following Route 3 into Edgemont, Newtown Square. That's the concern for the next 10 minutes. If I mention one of your communities, get to the center of your home or get to a basement. At the very least, you need to get off the second story just to be safe. That's a live look right now back in Westchester, where the storm is just exiting at this point. I'm keeping an eye on the trees in our live sky cam just to kind of get a feel for some of the winds. That tells me the storm has exited. Scott, can we take a moment right now and take a look at the wind speeds, the velocity? That's one of our tools as meteorologists to judge the strength of a tornado. You know, we look for certain things, and if we see a certain signature, that gives us a feel for how strong a potential tornado could be. So looking at this right now, as we look at the wind mode of Doppler radar, can sense the rain moving away and toward a radar. There's nothing in particular that really makes me particularly heightened sense. In other words, I look for a signature that would tell me wind speeds over 110 miles an hour. That's not the case. What that means is this: if there were to be a tornado right now, just moving into some of these communities right here, just past Westchester and heading down Route 30 toward Malvern, the wind speeds on average would be around 100 miles an hour or a little bit less. That can easily uproot trees, that can fall on homes, that can also get projectiles to break windows. Wow, look at the rain just coming down. This is heading out of Westchester right now. So this is Market Street. We're looking toward Route 3. Like if we kept going on that, that would take you right to Broomall, right to Delaware County. That's in the tornado warning for about, say, 15 minutes from now. The storm has just exited the portion that, if there were a tornado, has just exited Westchester, but it gives you a feel for the conditions right now happening not only in Chester County, but all across our region. We have storms with tons of rain, lots of lightning, and if you hear rumbles of thunder, that means that lightning's within 10 miles of you. And it's true, you can count. So you count from when you hear thunder, from when you saw the flash. It tells you how far away in terms of miles that storm is with that lightning. All this is in different regions, but we're here because we're focused on this tornado warning, this storm right here that, in addition, if it doesn't have a tornado, I can tell you this. This has wind damage that just the potential is there. This storm right here is capable of producing wind damage without question, just from the look of it on Doppler radar. Scott, what are your thoughts right now taking a look at the storm as this tracks toward eastern parts of Chester County into Delaware County?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about blinding rainfall. I mean, first of all, and I mean, we're talking about ponding on the roadways. We're looking at vivid lightning, and we're talking about just torrential rain with this system. So even if you're not going to see the tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped. I mean, we're looking at major highways and places that have pretty good population. 202 right now. I mean, it is just, coming down in buckets. Also around sections of 322 there, you can see just indication there on Ultimate Doppler, just showing you the intensity, that dark red that you see, that magenta color, that is definitely some rainfall rates of about 2 to 3 inches per hour. Places like West Goshen, moving up 202 as you move toward East Whiteland area. We're looking at some of that very heavy rainfall. This is moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So places like Hershey Mill, you're under that tornado warning. East Goshen, West Goshen, Willistown, moving toward the Westtown area, you're under that as it moves to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So once again, crossing over 202 right now with that very heavy rainfall as this continues to impact sections of Chester County, northern sections of Delaware County until noon. We have this tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. So I'll take the sweeping radar off. We still have that one for northern sections of Chester County that we were watching a little earlier. That one should expire in a couple of minutes.
Right.
But we're talking about heavy rainfall, blinding rainfall, the potential is there. Yes, absolutely, for a rain-wrapped tornado. I'm going to see if I can put on the hail tracker with this, and you can see, yeah, we're talking about some hail being detected in this, moving toward the 202 area. So right now we've got the hail track on here, and this is showing you where we have some hail in the atmosphere moving through sections of Chester County, approaching the 202 area with all of that heavy rainfall, lightning, as well as the gusty winds.
So, Scott, I just was reading reports from the National Weather Service. There have been reports of in-size hail from severe weather spotters in Chester County, getting close to King of Prussia. So, this gives you a feel that these storms also have hail that's about quarter size, lots of lightning, as you mentioned. We're taking you live right now to media. Look at this right here. So, this is an interesting sort of look, this little kind of shelf cloud formation. When you see something like that, that just tells you that is a nasty storm. We don't usually see things like that in this region. This is stuff you more see out in the plains. This has tons of rain. The darker a cloud is, the more rain it has. That formation just lets us know that a storm like that has wind gusts that are capable of wind damage. That is coming in right now to media in Delaware County as we look live from our live camera. And by the way, our live cameras are on fox29.com, so you can keep an eye on that as well with some interactive radar. That's at fox29.com. This tornado warning continues through noon. We're tracking this line of strong storms with wind gusts capable of wind damage in addition to a tornado. Scott was talking about it's tracking through 202, so it's moving past toward like some of the Malvern, Paoli exits, also like toward the Wayne area and also toward King of Prussia right now. This is our focus area right now as we track over the next 15 minutes to the noon hour following the storm that has the potential for a tornado. Some of the latest indications that we were just looking at, and this is a live picture, by the way, of this torrential rain looking live at 95. You know, you can see some of the ponding of the roads right now because while we have the tornado warning in Chester County and the Delaware County, we have a lot of issues around our region. There's other spots with severe thunderstorm warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in other parts of our communities, into some portions of different areas. In fact, I see right here there's a severe thunderstorm warning that has been extended in parts of Newcastle County, including Wilmington, as well as there's severe thunderstorm warning that has moved into, let's see, that is just north of Salem County, so that's Gloucester County as well. That just means this: there's wind gusts capable of wind damage for Newcastle County, Delaware, and also Gloucester County. Nasty storm. We're looking live over Wilmington. Just take that in right there. So Wilmington, you're dry at the very moment, but listen, in a snap, just like that, the world is about to open up over you because that dark cloud is dumping torrential rain. And look at just look at the pattern. Look at the texture of the clouds. That means things are really turbulent. That's part of the reason why we have hail today. When you have a kind of lot of up and down that makes those sort of patterns like that in a cloud, that's part of the reason why we're getting reports of inch-size hail with that tornado warning and those storms that are in Chester County moving toward Delaware County. Other portions of the storms that we're not concerned about the tornado, but concerned about straight line wind damage that has the potential to cause what looks like tornado damage, just coming in right now into parts of Newcastle County. So Wilmington, we saw that. We literally were just looking right there with our live sky cam. That storm that's right here is coming into your community throughout the city of Wilmington in the next 10 minutes. So that's what's moving in. We see it on radar. We see it with our live cameras. We're fortunate to have live cameras all across our region to give you these live conditions to help you plan and prepare for these strong, potentially dangerous storms moving across Chester County and into Delaware County, into portions of not only Montgomery County as well, but then we have nasty storms, this severe thunderstorm warning for parts now, it looks like, in the Newcastle County. Now it just got updated to include Salem County and into Gloucester County. We continue to focus, and this is why we're here on that tornado warning. Scott, give me your thoughts as we continue to add more communities into this potentially dangerous weather that's tracking east.
Talking about new severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued for sections of Salem County, Gloucester County, that's in sections of South Jersey, also extending into sections of Newcastle County, northern Newcastle County in Delaware, northwestern Camden County, and also southwestern Pennsylvania County. Now we have severe thunderstorm warning. This is the orange box that you see until 12:45. This activity is moving through sections of Greenville in Delaware, also Bear, Delaware, moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So this activity is capable of producing quarter-sized hail as well as the potential for wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. And this is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So I'll put a track on this activity quickly through sections of Newcastle County and into sections of Salem and Gloucester County, also into Philadelphia County. It's moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So you can see Wilmington, you will be hit with the blinding rainfall. Upper Chichester, Chester, near the airport, moving toward the Deptford area as this continues to push on off to the east over the next hour or so. So severe thunderstorm warnings in effect there until 12:45. Let's get back into sections of Chester County as we still have that active tornado warning. That's the red box that you see crossing 202 into sections of Chester County now. So we'll zoom into some of the areas that will be impacted by this, including the Sugartown area, Willistown. We'll continue to zoom in, and you can see places like Plumstock, Easttown, Malvern. You are on the cusp of this tornado warning. You're in the tornado warning. Places like Paoli as well. So we're talking about some mainline communities with this tornado warning for sections of Chester County and also Delaware County until noon. That is what the advisory has for this particular area. But you can see on radar showing you just the intensity of that blinding rainfall right now, moving right over 202. The purple, the fuchsia color that you see. We're talking rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour out of this. Not to mention, we'll put the lightning back on this. We're talking about vivid lightning with this system as well. And also we're looking at the potential, even if we don't have a tornado, for some straight line wind damage anywhere from 60 to maybe 80 miles per hour that will cause the same damage that an EF0 or an EF1 tornado would cause. So treat this as a tornado even if you don't have one. But we are talking about those
Scott,
areas.
let me jump in on that point because you bring up such an incredible point there that's worth noting. So that means if you're not included in the tornado warning in southern parts of Delaware County, so this is 322 taking you to Philadelphia, Newcastle County including Wilmington, into Salem County and Gloucester County, just like what Scott said, this right here has the potential to cause wind damage that looks just like tornado damage. This is tornado strength wind damage dropping out of this storm. This is a very dangerous storm setup when you see a line like that. So if you don't have the tornado warning, this region right here where you have these severe thunderstorm warnings, because it's near you, particularly if you got that alert on your phone, you have the potential for tornado-like wind damage. So that's something that's really important to note. Also, I want to note, you see all these pinks? That's hail. So there is hail, quarter-size hail with these storms. We're here because our particular focus is the potential for this tornado rolling through, as Scott was mentioning, the main line, Route 30, all across 202, into Route 3, into Delaware County. This right here would be where the tornado would be. You know, a lot of times these days when we get tornadoes, they get spun up by these lines right here. So where the tornado would be right now is pretty much right on the edge of the line. Scott, for just a second, I'm going to step off. I'm going to stop the radar because I want to take an in-depth look right now at exactly where the storm is at this very moment. I want to zoom in because if there were to be a tornado, it would be in these communities right here. So right where we see the reds is where the concern is. So we're looking at Route 3. This is coming in to where we have street level potential right there. So past Edgemont, heading toward Broomall is a concern right now. This is where the tornado warning would be. We're looking a little farther north into Chester County. So it's just past Cerdiffin right there into Stratford. This is kind of the main line route. So right there, these communities is where our concern is at the very moment as the storm continues to move more east over the next few minutes. This tornado warning is in effect until noon. We'll see if the National Weather Service continues that. At the very least, there is wind damage coming out from these storms. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Look at Wilmington.
Yeah.
That just takes my breath away to see that. I mean, look at the left side of your screen. You can hardly see anything. That's those rainfall rates you were talking about, Scott. Look at that. It's coming down in incredible amounts.
Yeah, I mean, coming down in sheets, rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour. So Newcastle County getting hit right now with that blinding rainfall as this system continues to move in from west to east, moving at about 30 to 40 miles per hour on average. But once again, you can see right now we're looking at blinding rainfall through sections of Newcastle County down 95, 295, Landers Park, moving toward Newcastle itself. Very heavy rainfall. Highway 13, you know, it's Father's Day weekend. A lot of folks were probably packing up, headed to the Delaware beaches, to the Jersey Shore, and we're talking about this blinding rain. Not to mention, we already have the concern with the collapse on 95, so that is already creating a traffic nightmare in and of itself. So once again, you'll want to wait these thunderstorms out before hitting the road, because we have the potential for for damaging wind gusts as this line continues to move through. Lightning, there's hail in the area, and we have an active tornado warning in effect until noon. It's still in effect for sections of Delaware County as well as Chester County. So once again, we'll zoom into that area where we have that tornado warning. I'm going to take the radar off just quickly so you can see outlined here in this red box. It includes a lot of the mainline communities. We're talking about Radnor, we're talking about Malvern. So once again, Lancaster Avenue here, we are talking about you are under this tornado warning. Places like Radnor moving right through the main line here, Devon moving through sections toward Paoli, Malvern. So once again, these are highly populated areas in Chester County as well as Delco that are underneath this tornado warning until noon. So we still have about 6 or 7 minutes to go, and that's why we're staying with this tornado warning. And you can see once again highly populated areas in the potential here for seeing rain-wrapped tornado, straight line wind damage. We're looking at rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour. We need the rainfall, but not this way. Of course, most locations, the entire state declared a drought situation just the other day, and now we're getting beneficial rainfall, but it's coming at a cost with that severe weather threat moving through the area. So once again, this tornado warning goes into effect until noon. We're going to wait and see if it's going to be extended or what's happening with it. But most of the area, if you're not under that tornado warning, you're currently now under a severe thunderstorm warning. That does include sections of Philadelphia County, Camden County, Gloucester County, Salem County, moving into Newcastle County, Delaware. Once again, we're talking about very heavy rainfall with this system, and you can see all of that lightning. I'm going to see if I can query the lightning within this box here just to see how many lightning strikes we're talking about in this vicinity, Drew. And you can see we're looking at well over 200 lightning strikes with this right now, moving through sections. There we go. Clear that off, and you can see 205 lightning strikes. That's just within that box. That's not to mention some of the lightning that we're seeing down the shore. There was a storm that just moved through the Atlantic City area. That's non-severe right now. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that popped up right on the border here of Kent County as well as
Let me
Sussex
jump in
County.
on that real quick, Scott. We just got a report from the National Weather Service right here. There's hail over quarter size, 1.25 inches. I can tell you from personal experience, when you have hail over the size of a quarter, so that was in Kent County and Sussex County where that 1.25 inch hail has been reported, that can cause dings to cars. I have some dings on my old car because of hail 1.25 in diameter. That is in Kent County, farther south of here, and Sussex County, a report just in from the National Weather Service. So all of this right here, all of this yellow you see, everyone here has the potential for wind damage as strong as a lower end tornado. That means uprooted trees. That also means capability for projectiles, you know, things up in the air like maybe tree branches that whack a window, that'll break a window. So, you know, Scott, let's take a quick look at the velocity, see has anything changed right now. Velocity is our wind analyzer, and that helps us better understand the strength of a tornado as meteorologists. It tells us about winds moving toward and away from the radar. We look for certain signatures. I'm not really seeing that per se. Concerns me right now a little bit in Marple. If there is a tornado, it would be right there. So I can tell you that if there were to be one, so let's look at some of these communities and these towns. So coming into Broomall, this is Route 3. So this is like where that new, well, not new, but it's a couple years old, Whole Foods is that they just put in by, I think it's Hill Seafood, and then into Broomall, so getting toward the Lawrence Park Shopping Center.
Highway 320.
Yep, this is the concern. So there's like there's that Broomall Library right off of 320. There's a diner not far from there. This is the area, particularly right here, that we're concerned right now. If there is a tornado, this is where it is. I'm talking to you, Marple. I'm talking to you, Broomall. I'm talking to these communities along 320, Paxton Hollow Road. I know that goes along a creek. My grandfather used to fish there at a creek off there. So this right here, if you're in this region, get to the center of your home, get to the basement of your home. You need to get away from windows. You don't want to be on the second story because winds at this speed can uproot trees. So this is a look right now at the wind mode of Doppler radar. It helps us analyze, okay, where would the tornado be? What's the strength of the tornado? This tells me the wind speeds of the tornado, if there were to be one, would be less than 110 miles an hour. So on average, that usually means the winds would be about 90, 100 miles an hour in this region. This whole region right here, Scott's given us a feel for some hail. We've had reports of inch-size hail with that line of storms. That line of storms bring, you've been seeing the live sky cams from our live camera network across our region. tons of rain, causing flash flooding. You know, listen, when you get an inch and a half of rain like that, there's going to be flash flooding on the low spots on roads. All of this region right here, as this line just blasts through the area. Everyone right here in Chester County, now Montgomery County, just past King of Prussia. I'd love to see our King of Prussia sky cam to see what the conditions are like there. And so this line right here is bringing wind gusts capable of wind damage that would rival tornado damage. So all of this is a concern if you have a severe thunderstorm warning that just got extended to all of Philadelphia and into other communities, including Burlington County just moments ago. We still have that tornado warning. We're going to see if the National Weather Service extends that. This right here, and the reason we're on the air for the tornado warning, if there's a tornado now in Delaware County, would be through about noon. Okay, so we're looking live. I just want to see, okay, good. At this point, the storm is past King of Prussia. We're getting a feel for that live picture right there. To look at conditions, I want you to note the clouds. Look how fast the clouds are moving. That's the reason why we have the energy for these strong wind gusts. There are ferociously strong winds. That is not how fast a cloud normally moves. That is cooking right there. You can see how fast those clouds are moving across the screen. That is what's given us the potential for not only a possible tornado right now, in particular in Delaware County, coming into Broomall at this very moment, but also straight line wind gusts that are capable of tornado-like damage across our region in Newcastle County, coming into Salem County, Gloucester County, and soon into Philadelphia. So we're waiting for this update because the National Weather Service has that through noon. We're just turning the noon hour.
They canceled it.
All right, let's widen things out, see if they have anything left. Okay, so I want to leave you with this final note. Ferocious storms, heavy rain, lots of lightning, hail, inch size. This is a real serious situation for everyone with these severe thunderstorm warnings. And I want to note there are wind gusts capable of wind damage that can look like tornado-like damage. We're talking 70, 80, 90-mile-per-hour winds dropping through. So take these severe thunderstorms warnings seriously. Stay away from windows if this is one of the counties where you live. Lastly, let's talk about these counties that have this severe thunderstorm warning. Newcastle County, Salem County, Gloucester County, all of Philadelphia. Also into parts of Burlington County, into parts of Montgomery County, just got extended into Bucks County. All of you need to be prepared for wind damage capable of tornado strength, lots of lightning, heavy rain, and hail. Scott, do you have any final thoughts?
Download the free Fox 29 Weather Authority app, and you can track these storms along with us. And of course, we'll continue to follow this and break in if we receive another tornado warning.